Hello and welcome to another pen video from me, Penultimate Dave. So here on this video we have, I know what you're saying, yet another Visconti pen and box. So yes, it is. I do have a lot of Viscontis in my collection, so I hope you don't get too tired of seeing these Visconti videos. But so this is a very large brown leather box. It's very, very heavy. It's I think probably the heaviest box I have from Visconti, actually, come to think of it. But I'll show you. So this is a Visconti Opera Master, and it's the Blue Swirls Proto or prototype. So let's open up the box here. Now this came with a bit of a protection here because this is a crystal inkwell. So let's remove this, and you'll see here, so there's a number of things. You have your standard Visconti booklet that they tend to put in a lot of pens, not all pens, and it just basically, you've seen this before on some of my other videos, but it basically shows you the manufacturing process, the villa there, or the Visconti factory, various heads of state and other actors and actresses and well-known people, and then some of the range like the Divina HRH, the Alchemy, some other popular pens like the Christian Bible, the Issos Arachnis, some of the lower end pens like the Rembrandt, the Divinas, Michelangelo, and Homo sapiens, and the warranty details. So really there's nothing special in this particular manual. It's just one that they include in most of their pens. So I'll move that out of the way. So this is a pen that I really like the look of for a number of reasons. Partly because it actually comes in this lovely set, and so the first thing is you get a one pen leather pouch, but this is the silk kind, which is the limited edition, and it's a zip up pouch here, so you just zip it all the way up, and it really helps store your pen quite nicely. So if I just put the pen in there, you can see it's almost a tight fit, but it will fit in there. So that is a lovely little pen case, for one pen, just to carry around with you, so that you can carry your pen around with you if you want to. So you get that, and so I do like that. You also get this stunning, and this is a heavy inkwell. It's a crystal inkwell. So you have the Visconti logo here on the top of the inkwell, and then if you open it up, you'll see here that there is another Visconti logo right there, and that is so it's on the inside of the lid, and you can see inside here, I'll put my finger at the bottom of it, that it is a blue, very heavy crystal inkwell. Now so I haven't put ink in here, and there's a very good reason, because as you see, if I tilt it a little bit, this lid comes up. There's nothing that actually creates a proper seal on this lid on the crystal inkwell. So my fear is that over time water is going to evaporate out of the ink, and you're just going to have a very thick, sludgy ink. And I know other people have said similar things as well. So it's a lovely inkwell. I keep it on my desk, but it's not something that I would leave ink in. Like, I'm not even too sure how much ink this will store. I'm guessing this is probably around about. It's got to be around about 90-100 milliliters, I would think, of ink, because it's bigger than a 80 ml bottle of diamine, for instance. So this is going to hold a lot of ink, so there's no way that I'm going to go through that amount of ink, say, in a week. Like, if I was just keeping ink in here, then yeah, I would probably, if I was going through it all, then I would probably, like in a week, a course of a week, then I would probably put ink in there. But like, I would have to leave this on my desk probably for 12 months before I would use up all of that ink, because I don't exclusively use one ink, so I actually keep swapping between lots of different color inks. But it's a lovely, lovely crystal inkwell that very, very lovely, and I love the blue color, and I love that it actually matches this pen. So this is the Opera Master Blue Swirls Proto, and you can kind of see that it does have swirls in the body, although to be honest, it's more like, I want to say blobs. And I know that's probably not the best way to describe them, but it's more blobs than swirls, or but it is a lovely pen, and so it comes with a blue cap. If I just focus in here, you have the standard bridge clip, spring loaded. It's enameled in blue. I don't know if you can actually see that there. There you go, on the back of the bridge clip there. So it's enameled in blue. Comes with a standard My Pen finial, which is a magnet which you can remove. You can put your initials on there. You can put your birthstone or gemstones on there, and then you have on the cap band itself, you have the word opera there. Visconti don't put opera master. I guess it's a little bit too tight to fit there. They'd have to reduce the opera font, and master would have to be a lot smaller. I think it's doable, but maybe it's not that legible. So Visconti just put opera on there instead. So they don't differentiate between the opera master and the opera models with that text on the cap band. And sometimes you do have the opera master LE number on the back, but you don't on this one. So this one, this one isn't actually an LE, so a limited edition. So there are some of these that went out initially in the first batch that was a limited edition range, and then there were some additional ones that went out that were not part of the limited edition. So this is one of the ones that isn't part of the limited edition range. So this doesn't have an LE number on it. But the body, so it is the square and the circle faceted body there, and you can see now. I've had this previously inked up with Pilot Iroshizuku Mamiji, and so you can still see some inky water residue in the barrel. Now this is a power vac filler, so it is always very difficult to get the last remnants of inky water out of a power vac, unfortunately. But what I'll do is, if I pull it back here, if I pull the piston knob back, you should see. There you go. That's sort of makes it look a little bit more clearer there. But obviously you can still see some of the ink there. But yeah, it's just one of those things to bear in mind with a demonstrator, and that's one reason why I like this pen, because it's actually less of a demonstrator. So if the ink were to stain it a little bit, I don't mind so much, and I think this looks really lovely with some red ink in there. So it's a stunning pen. And then obviously you have the titanium rod, the piston or power vac rod there, and then you have the end cap. And as I said, this isn't an LE, so it doesn't have any limited edition number on there. And then you actually have the end of the cap where it comes into a bit of a point. So that is the pen itself. Screw that knob up, and if I it's a threaded cap. Now this came with a medium nib, and I've left the medium nib on here. It's actually quite a lovely nib. You can see it's quite pointed. It's almost like a fine nib, but it's a lovely writer. Um, you have the metal section. Now, some people complain that metal sections are shiny and they find that they lose grip on them sometimes. I've not had this problem with any metal section pens, especially the polished mirror-like ones like this is. Um, but I know some people have complained about that on other pens in the past. Now, you have the threads there, so this isn't a hook safe lock. None of the Opera Masters have the hook safe lock that I'm aware of. And then you have the double reservoir here. And that just basically allows you to have a little bit extra ink, but you can also lock off the second reservoir when flying so that you don't get an inky mess when either ascending or descending in a plane. So that's really it. You can see here the profile of the feed there. This is a standard Visconti 23 cap palladium nib in a medium nib. But it is a rather lovely nib. I do like these palladium nibs. I do prefer the gold nibs, the 18 karat and the 14 karat older gold Bock nibs that Visconti had on their pens. They do write slightly better and slightly more consistently than the palladium nibs, but this is still I still do love the palladium nibs. So yeah, that's really it, I would say. So what we'll do some size checks and weight and comparisons, and then I'll ink this up, and then we'll do a writing sample. So let's do this. In terms of size, we are looking at around 155 to 157 millimeters in length. We're looking at 70 millimeters for the cap, and then the actual body of the pen we are looking at, to the tip of the tines, around 145 millimeters. So this is a large pen for sure. Now, in terms of weight, let's do a weight check. So, in terms of the entire weight, this is uninked, bearing in mind. This is just over 58.5 grams. Oh, just under. Yeah, just under 58.5 grams. The cap itself, we're looking at just over 19.5 grams, and then the pen itself, uninked, we are looking at just over 40 grams. Now, obviously, in terms of the full weight of the pen, we're looking at 59 there. Now, you're going to add probably, this pen will take around 3 milliliters of ink, if not maybe a little bit more. So that's going to add about another 3 grams on to the weight of the pen. So that's just to bear in mind. So I think what we'll do now is I'll move this box out of the way, and then we'll do a comparison size with other pens. So let me zoom out. So let's put that pen in there. So from left to right, we have the Visconti Belgica, the Visconti Ecstasy d'Aude, the Visconti Speakeasy, the Visconti Medici Il Magnifico. We have the Visconti Opera Master Blue Swirls Proto. We have the Visconti Luxor Obelisk. We have the Visconti Opera Silver Dust. We have the Visconti Homo Sapiens London Fog, the Visconti Divina Elegance in green and rose gold trim, and then a Pelican M800 Royal Gold Rawdon. So you can kind of see the size differences there. The Opera Master is on the higher length or longer length in terms of pen length, and it is quite a weighty pen. It's not the heaviest pen that I have in my collection, but it certainly is up there. So I'm going to ink the pen up with Pilot Iroshizuku Momiji. This is an ink that I really, really do love in this pen. So let's see if we can do this without making a mess, shall we? This is always difficult on camera. Yeah, that's worked. Now I'm not going to do a full fill on this. There are ways of actually getting a full fill. This is just going to be just a regular fill. Like you can use the traveling inkwells. Just put the cap on this bottle. Get this out of the way so that we don't spill ink everywhere. So in terms of the double reservoir, so this is what I was mentioning about earlier on, is that like literally when the reservoir, you can lock the reservoir down so it actually holds about 0.6, 0.7 milliliters of ink. But if you wanted to fly with the pen, you basically open up the end cap here, tilt the pen back, and now all of that ink drains out, and then you can lock the piston in place. So now if I tilt the pen back down, I'm not getting any ink out. So this is a really good way of actually flying with the pen, because that way then you just shake it once you've opened it up, and then eventually you will get a load more ink come down. Here you go. Sometimes you just have to shake it a little bit more. There you go. So I am going to. There you go. That's a full ink window. Now I've locked the end cap down, so I now actually have a full reservoir there. Just test that the pen is in a writable condition. So this is the Visconti Opera Master. Now this is going to be a big one. Blue Swirls Proto type. And this is a medium nib. And the ink obviously is Pilot Iroshizuku, and it's going to be Momiji. Now, in terms of line variation, it's a medium nib, it's a palladium nib, it has a bit of a bounce to it, it's a wet nib as well. So, in terms of normal line variation, you'll see here, this is with no pressure whatsoever. Now, if I start to add a bit more pressure, you can actually get more out of the nib. So, in terms of figure of 8, you can do a little bit of flexing. Don't flex it too much, because you're liable to spring the tines. But you can get a little bit of line variation out of the nib. And this is why I like Visconti nibs, because if you see here, you can see on the downstrokes there's a lot of line variation, and in the upstrokes there's a lot narrower lines. So it is actually something that you can do quite a bit with these nibs. Now, in terms of wetness, let's do a wetness test. Now, this is a wet nib, and you can see there, in terms of wetness, that's quite a fire hose of a nib. So, I love the way this nib writes. It is very, very wet, and it's a lovely nib, and I really do like it. I love the way when inked up, this pen really looks lovely, and you see like the remnants of the red Momiji there, just swirling around in the barrel, just coating it and just making that red hue. So it's a lovely pen and ink combination, I would say, and it's definitely something that I almost dedicate to this pen now. So it's personally, I find it's a really good combination, and I really do like Momiji as well. And Momiji does have quite a bit of sheen to it, especially if you're using, say, Tomoe River paper. So that's the Visconti Opera Master Blue Swirls prototype. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next pen video. Bye bye.